Ladies and gentlemen, we are live!
Welcome everyone to the Bronx Sports Jedi MMA Weekly of Austin and Chef Dan. I am Austin and my co-host is Chef Dan. How you doing tonight, Chef Dan?
I'm doing well, Austin. I'm getting ready, geared up. It's a big pay-per-view this weekend. I'm getting ready for that. We're about to get right into it. So, yeah, how are you doing today?
Doing well. Doing very good. Definitely excited for this pay-per-view Saturday. And 5 days from now. 5 days as we're recording this. Doing this video. I'm excited. I can't wait for this pay-per-view to come through. And before that, just want to mention we do have audio. We are on audio podcast platforms like Spotify, Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, Spreaker FM, etc. So definitely hit us up, check us out over there, and listen to us if you want to listen instead of watching, or if you can't, or you don't have the ability to watch us. Definitely want to mention that real quick. And since you already mentioned it. There was no MMA, like major MMA last week, no UFC, no Bellator. ONE FC was a week earlier, so we're just getting right into UFC 273. As you can see on this card, as you can see right here, although unfortunately the Kelvin Gastelum and Imavov fight is not happening because Imavov couldn't get his passport visa issues, I believe it was with him, if I'm not mistaken. Couldn't get to the United States, and Gastelum was supposed to fight. I can never pronounce this guy's name. You know what I'm talking about, right, Dan?
Nassourdine Imavov.
Yeah, Imavov, but there was a replacement for Imavov, the South African middleweight, but I can never pronounce that guy's name. It's
I'm not so sure about who was the replacement for this matchup.
He has a hard name to pronounce, but he was supposed to replace Imavov, but Gastelum got injured, and unfortunately, Gastelum's not fighting, so it's one less fight on the card, and you can see on the screen, but still a good card overall. Still a pretty excellent card, top to bottom from the UFC. This coming Saturday in Jacksonville, Florida, and I guess we can start with the main event if you want to go there.
Yeah, we can get right into the main event. Even though this was supposed to be Alexander Volkanovski versus Max Holloway, number 3 going down. Holloway had to call out of the matchup due to an injury, and so to step up into Max Holloway's place was Chang Sung Jung, the Korean Zombie. So we have Alexander Volkanovski versus Chang Sung Jung, the Korean Zombie, in the featherweight division for the championship. And I wish there was more I could dissect from this fight, but really, for me personally, when you look at the work of prior to the last fight that Chang Sung-jung had, when he fought Brian Ortega, the biggest thing that gave him an issue was the wrestling mixed in with the striking. And so when you have a lot of that going on right now, when you have that going on for Volkanovski, who knows how to mix in the grappling along with the striking, he can do both pretty efficiently. Very well-rounded guy. It kind of makes it hard for me to kind of say that that Chang Sung-jung really has a chance. I kind of really want to lean towards Volkanovski taking this. I don't know what round he takes this, but I believe he's so well rounded he's gonna end up winning this fight. What say you, Austin?
I think Volkanovski should be the favorite, and I do lean towards Volkanovski, but I don't rule out Korean Zombie. I know Volkanovski's, I think it's the biggest favorite of the entire card, which is pretty surprising, in my opinion, just because Korean Zombie has been a top contender in the featherweight division for a long time, and I know I know Volkanovski's great. I'm not going to take anything away from him, but I don't know. Part of me thinks Korean Zombie, especially in the early rounds, has a chance to beat Volkanovski because he packs a punch he packs power in his punches, I should say, rather, and also, I mean, Korean Zombie, the reason why he's called Zombie is because he doesn't get finished. I mean, with the exception of Yair Rodriguez and the elbow in their fight back in 2018. And I do think Zombie is even though Volkanovski should be the favorite, I don't think Zombie is going to be completely dominated in this fight like some people predict or finished, personally. I think Zombie, there is a slight chance in the early rounds for Zombie to catch Volkanovski and drop him, because I'm trying to think of all the opponents Volkanovski's had who has like the most power in their punches, and I think it probably would be Zombie, even more so than, well, although does have power, but I think Zombie has a little more, and I do wonder, and I do think there's a chance Zombie can catch Volkanovski and probably drop him. But we see, even if you do drop Volkanovski, he can still persevere, as we found out with the Brian Ortega fight back in September.
Yeah, like you said, I'm not saying that that the Korean Zombie has no chance at all in this fight. I'm never gonna rule that out. It's just that for me, if you tell me Volkanovski is the betting favorite, I'm not so surprised, because that guy provides this forward pressure, and he's very well rounded. And I know Korean Zombie has had issues with grapplers, and I know Volkanovski isn't afraid to initiate some grappling, not to get to submission, but I think in order to get to more comfortable positions to initiate ground and pound and do damage. So I'm seeing that being done for. I'm seeing Volkanovski do a lot of that throughout the fight.
Possible, yeah, I can see. I can see your point. Maybe try to initiate grappling to get better positions, and maybe dirty boxing potentially, or at least take him down, or do anything to neutralize Zombie's power, because obviously you don't want to get hit with so many shots from Zombie. So I can see that point, but yeah, I kind of wish it was Max Holloway instead of Korean Zombie, but we all know Holloway got hurt, and Zombie took the opportunity, so can't hate him for that. And I think this could, actually, never mind. I was gonna say this could be a great, maybe the best fight in the card, but then I realized I probably should take that back, because I think it's a nerf. Probably other fights in this card could potentially be just as good. And do you see a finish in this fight, or no, not at all?
No. I think this goes the distance, and I think Volkanovski takes it to the judges and he wins it.
I agree. I think Volkanovski, if he does win, it would be a decision and not a finish. Like I said, Zombie had only been finished once, twice, but one was a shoulder injury, which I don't really count. It was more of a shoulder injury. The other one was, like I said, was that elbow from Yair, that last second from out of nowhere. And before, let me answer this question real quick. Someone in the comments in the chat wants to know what time this card starts. The pay-per-view starts at 10 p.m. The early prelims, I believe, are at 6:30, and the prelims themselves start at 8 o'clock on ESPN. All Eastern time zones. So for those of you who want to know when does the pay-per-view begin, the prelims, etc., that's when, hopefully that does answer your question.
Yeah.
Either way, I'm excited. I am excited for this fight. I do think Zombie, I'll give him a little more of a chance than some people. Not you, but some people, and I've noticed in the MMA community are giving him personally. But
yeah, I mean, but we will see. We'll definitely see, because it's getting close to that time, and we know that this Saturday, this is an opportunity that Korean Zombie has been waiting for his entire career. This is something he could capitalize on, shock the world, and disrupt that whole round robin of just Volkanovski and Holloway. He definitely make himself a competitor and let himself be known there, because I think there's a chance for someone to step up and break the round robin between those two.
Right, yeah, that's a good point. It is feel like the last 2.5, 3 years it's been the Volkanovski Holloway dominating the title scene, especially after despite Volkanovski have 2 victories over Max Holloway. We all know the controversial one in the second fight. So yeah, this is a chance for Volkanovski break that red robin, as you said, Dan. I mean,
yeah.
Korean Zombie break it. My bad. Dan said Volkanovski, my mistake. And I guess we can move on to the co-main event. Want to go there?
Yeah, we move on from there to the co-main event.
In the co-main event, we have the UFC Bantamweight title on the line, and a unification bout between Aljamain Sterling and Petr Yan. Petr Yan comes in as the interim champ, Sterling as the official champion. Now this fight it's been a year in the making, because a year ago in March, Petr Yan was the bantamweight champion. Sterling was challenging for the title, and in the 4th round, Petr Yan throws an illegal knee while Sterling was down. That where Sterling couldn't continue, and Sterling was given the bantamweight title. And then since then, Petr Yan's fought Corey Sandhagen back in October for the interim bantamweight title and won that fight, became the champion. Aljamain Sterling got neck surgery, and which is why he hasn't fought since, and why we waited a year for the rematch. And that last fight, a lot of controversy in terms of Aljamain, in terms of whether or not he could continue or not, and the antics afterwards. I know rubbed a lot of people the wrong way about Aljamain Sterling, and this is why a lot of people are looking forward to this fight, and a lot of people are rooting for Petr Yan in this fight. I'd like to know your thoughts on this fight, Chef Dan.
Watching the original fight, you see that Aljamain, he started off very well, but that's also Petr Yan having a slow pace. And then Petr Yan slowly but surely starts to pick up his pace, pick apart Aljamain, and then you have that controversial blow that happens. Now, whether or not it affected Aljamain to the degree that it did, I'm not Aljamain Sterling, so I don't know, but he currently is the title holder. That being said, I'm going to keep it real with this one as well. I don't have much hope for Aljamain to retain this championship. I think Petr Yan goes in there and he takes care of business. I think he, starts off slow as always, but then he's going to flip the switch. If not at the start of the second round, I think he's going to flip the switch halfway through the first round and start to walk down Aljamain. And from there, he's either going to get a submission or try and knock him out. But that's what he's going for, a vicious finish, right? This fight.
Yeah, and I think this will be a different. A part of me thinks it's gonna be a different fight from the first fight, although me and I don't. A part of me thinks I don't know. Part of me thinks Aljamain would do better in this fight versus the first fight, but part of me thinks Petr Yan might just dominate him as well. And it's kind of torn on that. Because one thing about Petr Yan you mentioned is that he got off a slow start, but Petr Yan's known for getting off slow starts. You see the Corey Sagan fight, he got off to a slow start, and the Jose Aldo fight, slow starts, but then the second round, he basically changed his pace and is able to beat down his opponent. Seems like, I don't want to say he takes the first round off, I don't want to say that, but it seems like he likes to start slow and kind of figure out what you're doing and then make adjustment there. It seems like to me.
Yeah, sorry for cutting you off. Go ahead.
No, go ahead, make the point.
Now, I was saying for Petr Yan, what I think we've yet to see is someone counteract his adjustments, because what he's a master of doing is adjusting to the situation at hand and making sure it's what's best for him. Like, he flips the situation into something that's what's best for him, and if not, he'll pull back and reassess. Now, has someone been able to adjust to his adjustments and keep the flow going to where they can, keep flipping it right back to their hand? We haven't really seen that yet. So that's really the key for Aljamain Sterling there, is can he find some way to, adjust to, it sounds funny, adjust to Jan's adjustments and win the adjustment battle there.
Yeah, I agree with you there. And I think also another thing that I was going to say Aljamain might do, but I think it's going to be a lot tougher than what I'm about to say, is make it more of a grappling fight where you use a lot of grappling. But the thing is, in that fight, we saw how good Petr Yan's grappling was in the first fight. He did trip Aljamain, take him down several times in the first fight. And we even saw in Corey Sagan fight just how good Petr Yan's grappling is, actually. And even though I think when it comes to the jiu-jitsu wise, I think Aljamain Sterling has the clear advantage. But in terms of actual wrestling, I think Petr Yan's gonna present tougher challenges. Personally, in that aspect, I mean, do you agree with my assessment, or?
Yeah, I to a certain extent, I don't think Aljo just goes down this easier this second time around. I think he's learned something from that first fight. I think because we even saw it, he made a calculated effort to kind of extend it to really more so just use up the entire gas tank in that first round and try and finish out Yan. He saw that didn't work, but in the end, it kind of did, because it got him a DQ victory. But you see that you still have to save something in the tank. And if you are going to attack with that ferocity in the beginning of the round, why not go with some grappling heavy offense and try and keep Petr Yan on his back foot? Because we've also yet to see someone do that, be effective doing that, and then come out on top doing that.
Yeah, that's a good point. And that's a good point. And one thing I do want to mention with Petr Yan that I find fascinating is that a week ago or 2 weeks ago, it was mentioned that his cornermen couldn't make it to the United States because due to the visas weren't approved for whatever reason. And now people are wondering about Petr Yan's corner in terms of who's gonna be his cornerman and things like that, etc. And they wonder how much is that's going to play a factor in terms of this fight, knowing that Petr Yan's typical corner aren't there for him because of visa issues. And I think it will play a factor, because I've heard some people say that Petr Yan's so good he doesn't need cornerman, which I find ridiculous, because I don't think no fighter's good enough to where they don't need cornerman at all.
It depends though. It all depends on the narrative. The fight builds the narrative. Because if he goes out there and wins in dominating fashion, then you know what the story is that his fans are going to tell. He didn't even need a corner. He's a smart enough fighter. The IQ was there. But now if Aljo gets him to where he's panicking, and then we see it to where he makes a series of mistakes that leads into Aljamain's victory, then that could be something there that we could have a discussion where it's like, oh, maybe he truly was handicapped by his corner not being there, because the coach that's in his corner knows the fighter just as well as not just as well as the fighter knows himself, but possibly because the fighter will sometimes the corner will sometimes throw the towel before the fighter even, wants to, because they see something out there. So it's all about what the narrative, it's all about what narrative the fight is going to give us coming in this Saturday.
Yeah. Okay, and I just find that very fascinating, unique, considering I don't recall a championship fight where a fighter's corner couldn't make the camp because of this. So I find that a very unique situation. I know Sean O'Malley here in Cejudo offered their services, and Pierre Yan was joking, mentioned like they'll be in his corner. Just don't give him, crappy advice. Or he said something else, expletive, jokingly on MMA Hour today.
Yeah, I mean, it's I love the fact that Peter Yan, he's showing a marketable side to himself right now, being joking and having fun right now. It shows that he's comfortable. He thinks that this is a victory that's in the bag for him right now, and so he's very much so exploring his
comedic side?
I don't want to say comedic side. What's he's I think he's exploring the character that is Peter Yan.
Okay.
Because we've seen Peter Yan the fighter, but who is Peter Yan the person? You have a story to tell, and you are the main character in your own story. So that means there are different facets to you because you evolve. That's the way you naturally have a story. So we weren't seeing that before, but now we are.
Yeah, that's good. That's a good point. And I know. I was gonna say I feel like this fight kind of feels more like the main event than even the main event itself. I feel like this is the fight more people are the two title fights. This is the fight that more people are interested in, just because the backstory of what happened in the first fight and everything afterwards with Sterling and people's reaction towards him, and then Yan win the interim title. Do you agree with me that this feels more like the main event than even the featherweight title fight?
I mean, to some people it may be, but I don't know. To me, I think this next fight is the main event.
Thanks. Really, I kind of feel like this is almost, no respect to the main event, Volkanovski and Korean Zombie. They're two of the top 5 featherweights for a reason. And, well, I feel like this fight's like, I don't know, I feel like this, the buzz going into this, the trash talk and everything. I really do want to see this fight, what happens, see if improvements Aljamain's made, and see how if it turns out any different, and especially considering Aljamain's one of the few guys who's actually fight Pierre Yan twice. Usually Pierre Yan's only fought most guys once, and now Aljamain has the chance to work on, improve on things he did and counteract Pierre Yan's adjustments, which not a lot of guys have been able to do since they've only fought once. But yeah, I'm excited for this fight, and I can't wait. I think it will deliver. I think it'll be a good fight with a good performance. I can see a finish with Pierre Yan. Also, maybe Aljamain. If Aljamain, is able to get in a submission in a bad position on the ground.
That's the only way I see. Yeah, that's the way I see Aljo getting the victory, is through submission. And Peter Yan, I definitely see. If he does want to finish Aljamain, he's gonna go about it via knockout.
Yeah, I can't wait. And yeah, Pierre Yan definitely has probably the best boxing involved in anyone in the UFC. You can make I mean, personally, I think there's a case for him to be made there.
Boxing, yes. Strictly boxing, there's a case, yes.
Yeah, like I said, can't wait to see that fight. Can't wait to see what goes down in the bantamweight title fights. And since you mentioned it already, the third fight on this card, which some people feel like might be the main event, is in at the 170-pound division, welterweight division, between Khamzat Chimaev and Gilbert Burns. This is Khamzat's biggest challenge of his MMA career so far, and for Gilbert, this is a chance for him to derail the hype train of Khamzat Chimaev and hand him his first loss. And what are your thoughts of this fight, Chef Dan?
This to me feels like the main event. Me personally, because there is truly, I think more so than either the co-main event or the main event, this fight could end either way. I know Khamzat Chimaev has been very, very impressive, but you're fighting a guy in Gilbert Burns who was number 2 ranked in the welterweight division, coming off of a victory on Wonderboy Thompson, where it was a dominant victory for him. Prior to that, he lost to the champ, but he, in all respects, people thought he won the first round against Kamaru. It's just Kamaru finished him in the next round. But he has a claim to fame of saying that he had, a victorious moment against Kamaru. He just didn't secure the victory there. But yeah, this is definitely either guy could finish either guy via any way. I don't see a realm where either guy doesn't either get a submission or a KO in this fight. It's just that exciting, the prospects and the possibilities, because after this fight, if this guy calls, whoever the winner is, if they call for Kamaru after this one, or if they even let's say they say it's Colby, I want Colby next, and we decide who number 1 contender is, they're not denied that.
Yeah, I mean, you're right about that. This is, to my opinion, this should be the title eliminator for the welterweight division, not just me. I mean, Gilbert Burns can go out there and finish Khamzat Chimaev as my dog. Sorry,
it's fine, Bruce. Bruce is in the force. It's fine.
If Gilbert Burns can go out there and finish Khamzat Chimaev, the guy's been the boogeyman, like the like the big hype, the hype train, the undefeated guy that a lot of guys didn't want to fight in the who were ranked. If he can do that, I mean, it's hard to knock Gilbert another shot at Kamaru Usman. I mean, he won 2 in a row. He stopped the boogeyman. He's ranked number 2 anyway. You can make a case for him fighting Kamaru Usman. But if Khamzat can finish Gilbert Burns, a title challenger, and finish him, and against the guy who's supposed to be the toughest competition to date, to do that against him, I mean, the hype around Khamzat's already big. It's gonna be even bigger, and not only that, it'd be hard to deny him a title fight at that point. I mean, he finishes former title challenger, got number 2 guy in the world. It's like, man, there's so much at stake in this fight, and Gilbert can beat Khamzat Chimaev, like he can. Gilbert's got power. We saw against Kamaru, and he's got great jiu-jitsu. I mean, very high-level jiu-jitsu. So even if this fight gets to the ground, I mean, Khamzat gotta watch out, because Gilbert can either submit him or choke or grab a limb or whatever. So this is not gonna be an easy fight for Khamzat. And if you're Gilbert, but Gilbert can't just have bad defense staying up, because we see how Khamzat, he can drop people with just one punch. We saw it against Jeremy Marshall and 185, and I believe he dropped his first opponent too in the UFC.
Yes.
Okay. And then there's that uppercut, and when he was fighting the regional scenes, where he just landed that beautiful uppercut that knocked his opponent out. So if you're Gilbert, you gotta have good striking defense, because Khamzat can put you out.
This is, like you said, the biggest test for Gilbert. For Khamzat Chimaev to date. I said biggest. Gilbert's already faced the champ. That's his biggest test right there that he faced. So But yeah, this is definitely an opportunity for either guy to stake their claim in. But see, this is the thing. As much as you say it's a title eliminator, if Colby Covington says, I want to fight again for the title, can you deny him?
Yeah. Yeah, it'd be hard not to, considering Kamaru's even talked about he's open to a dirt fight with Colby Covington himself. And the second fight was so close that it's like almost like unfinished business with that fight.
Exactly. So when you have that, I mean, if I'm the winner coming out of that, I got to make sure I have at least a cornerman tell me, remind me to call out Colby, because I think regardless of what goes down in the Leon Usman fight, I think both of those guys are going to end up taking a lot of damage. This doesn't end quick because both of those guys are calculated. I definitely think that fight goes into the 5th round. If I'm either Gilbert or Khamzat, and I know that more importantly than just having this impressive victory, I know both guys, either one, if either one becomes a champion, they're gonna take time off to recuperate. While that time off is being had, people will forget my name. There's other guys in the division that will have them remember the name. So when you have situations like that arising, you want to secure your spot even further. It's nice having that number 2 next to your name, but having that number 1 there, I think that's something that puts you in a good position, because you will always just be one fight away from getting that title shot. So either opponent, man, I'd call out Colby Covington.
Yeah, I agree. Well, we don't know when Usman's fighting Leon Edwards. That's we don't know if it's July or maybe August. Who knows? So yeah, I agree.
That means even after
is the smart choice for the one to, especially if they get a great performance.
I agree with you 100%.
I mean, yeah, and I gotta say, I don't know if it's gonna be a lot of damage from both guys if Leon and Usman fight. I'm just not. I don't want to get too off topic with that, but I just think Kamaru has a great chance. I'm gonna leave it there. When that happens,
we can say that, but what I can say is that both those guys are very smart, calculated fighters. So, do you see them really, throw in their entire arsenal in the first, second round? No. We both know it's definitely going to go to the 3rd round, and that's where the pace is going to quicken. Now, does it go into the 5th round? We can't say for sure. You're absolutely right. But it is going to go past the 3rd round. Can we both agree there?
Yeah, it could. I think there's a good chance, but I think I don't know. I just think Kamaru was just better than Leon. I'm not so on Leon like everybody else. I'll just say that.
Okay. Well, other than that, like you said, that fight hasn't been decided. The time hasn't been decided yet, meaning you don't know when. We're waiting even more time. So while this fight here is going down, I call out Colby because I know that's the next fight that can be easily guaranteed. Yeah. Versus me calling out the winner of that fight. We don't even know when it's done, and then after that, we don't know when that fight is going to be booked after that. So, yeah.
Yeah, this is exciting. This fight. I am excited for this fight. Like everyone is. So many question marks. We don't know. Both got. If Khamzat passes the test again, my goodness, this hype this brother's gonna have. If he already has enough hype, if Gilbert Burns can end freaking Khamzat's undefeated streak, his first loss, and also, secure his number 2 position. Gilbert Burns. He's right there for another shot at Kamaru Usman, and also I do wonder if I do wonder how good. I think there'll be a good amount of grappling. I think Khamzat, if he hurts Gilbert, I can see him taking him down, or because Khamzat does got some submission victories. I do wonder how good Gilbert would be off his back against someone like Khamzat, who is a pretty good wrestler himself, wrestling from Williams in Tecia and in Sweden as well. So I do want to know how that will work out too.
Yeah, but we both know it's going to be very interesting because this isn't an opponent that we know Khamzat Chimaev can easily ragdoll. This guy is a contender. He's a smart fighter too. This isn't one of those opponents that he can pick up like Li Jingliang and, you know, just carry him all over to Dana and then choke him out and beat him up just in front of Dana and try and make an example. Like, this isn't one of those guys. So very, very interesting.
I agree, Frankie. In the comments chat writes, Gilbert's a tough piece of meat. I agree with you there. Gilbert's no pushover. No one pushes over Gilbert Burns. Kamaru Usman got dropped by him before he was able to beat Gilbert. But yeah, I agree with you there. Gilbert's gonna be a challenge. Like I said, that's what's so exciting about this. A challenge for Khamzat. See how good Khamzat really is. That's what makes it so exciting. See how good Khamzat really is, and also we see Gilbert Burns and show how good Gilbert still is. I mean, don't get me wrong, if Gilbert still loses, he's still one of the best welterweights in the world, regardless.
Yeah, but it just goes to show that there's a new guy rising in the contender and in the division, and he cannot be denied. That's what it would show.
Yes, I agree. Can't wait. This is definitely exciting. This fight, this Gilbert Burns and Khamzat Chimaev fights. I'm glad Gilbert stepped in and took on Khamzat when a lot of guys didn't want Khamzat, or a lot of guys seemed like they were unwilling to take on Khamzat. Like Gilbert stepped in.
Except, Gilbert and one other guy.
Neil Magny. Yes, right. Probably didn't make that fight, but hey, it works out for Khamzat. He's fine. Gilbert Burns. I mean, I think I'll take that over or Neil. Let's just be honest, considering the opportunity being Gilbert does versus Neil Magny. No offense, Neil Magny, very good fighter. Yeah,
it's just a numbers game as far as in the ranking. But like we said, this is going to be a very, very dope fight. And Austin, you looking forward to it as much as I am, if not more. We can move on though from this fight into the women's strawweight division. This is the first fight on the main card. Mackenzie Dern versus Tecia Torres. Very, very interesting here. Very, very interesting because both fighters can grapple very, very well. But we both know when two grapplers enter the ring, what happens 9 times out of 10? They end up striking with each other. So who do you see as the better striker? That would be the primary question there that's on everyone's mind.
I agree. And Tecia Torres in her last fight against Angela Hill was very good on her feet, which surprised me because I thought that was going to be her weakness against Angela Hill. She actually was way better against Angela in striking. And it seems like, and we saw with Mackenzie Dern against Marina Rodriguez in her last fight that after the second round, like the only time she got to the ground, she really didn't have a lot of answers for Marina on the feet, as Marina picked her apart and won that fight back in October. And although Mackenzie, has been working with Jason Perillo, who's one of the better head coaches and striking coaches in all of MMA. He's trained Aleksei Michael Bisping, BJ Penn back in the day, and Rafael Dos Anjos, and I think Cyborg even. So we all know how good a striking coach Perillo is. It's just a question of how much Mackenzie's improved since that October fight against Marina. But we both know, I think personally Mackenzie's the better grappler of the two. I know, excuse me, I know that Tecia has a wrestling background. Tecia has shown good wrestling in her past, but I think if this fight ends up in the ground, Mackenzie's got the clear advantage. She's the one woman you don't want to go to the ground with in the strawweight division because she has a better advantage over everybody. But I do think it's going to be a striking matchup. I think Mackenzie needs to make Tecia respect her striking in order to get to the ground.
let me ask you: does Mackenzie Dern have a lot of success grappling shorter opponents? Because having the height advantage means you really can't go lower than your opponent as far as base wise. So if she does go, if she goes low, all that really does is it puts the fight maybe at eye level or even at an advantage for Tecia Torres there. Because like I said, her having the height advantage, I don't think it helps with her grappling. Maybe she invites the dirty boxing and she goes into the clinch a lot more, and maybe that's her way of going about it. But I don't think I don't think she grapples well with a shorter opponent. What say you?
I didn't think about that, but that's a good point, because Tecia is a shorter strawweight compared to some of the other girls at 115. And, it's hard. It's taller fighter. It's harder to get lower because you put yourself in a bad position against a shorter fighter. And and I didn't think about that. Man, that's wow. You brought up a good point. I didn't think about that. The Tecia's height versus Mackenzie. I'm trying to think all her fights. How many short opponents did she fight, Mackenzie?
I mean, either which way, whether she's fought them or not, that trying to get that advantage of, getting lower than a shorter opponent, it's tough. Especially because with Tecia Torres, like she's not short and, slight of frame.
No.
She's a short and compact athlete, so I know she has the strong enough base that if Mackenzie Dern shoots, she can sprawl, get lower than Mackenzie, and push off and keep the fight standing up.
Yeah, that's true. Give
me one moment. I'll be right back.
Okay. Good point. Anyway, that's a good point by Dan there. But I think if Mackenzie can get like a body lock, kind of like a backpack, like backpacking, as I call it, our opponent, like Tecia, that can do. She doesn't actually have to shoot for the legs in order to get a takedown. But like I said, I think that whoever's the better striker is going to win this fight, like Chef Dan pointed out. But also, I think in order for if Mackenzie wants to make it a grappling match, she's gonna force Tecia to respect her striking. She's gonna hit her with several shots that can hurt Tecia or can stun her just enough to where she can shoot for a takedown, or get like a body lock to where she can put on her submission. Because like I said, Mackenzie Dern might be the best submission artist in the strawweight division. I don't think there's anyone better than her, personally. But but yeah, this is a great fight in the strawweight division, considering Tecia has won 3 in a row. If Tecia Torres can beat Mackenzie Dern, she's right there for a title shot. Well, not a title shot, but like maybe she can go out there and like fight for a title eliminator next against someone like a title eliminator next. I'm trying to think who. Like maybe Marina Rodriguez or someone else in strawweight division. She can fight a title eliminator next if Tecia does beat Mackenzie Dern. But Mackenzie Dern wins, she's basically one more fight from a title match as well. Considering she can beat a girl in Tecia Torres who's won 3 in a row, who's climbed up the rankings. She put Mackenzie right on back in track for getting a title fight soon. This is a very important fight in the strawweight division. I'm excited for this fight. Like I said, women's strawweight is to me the best division in all of women's MMA, not just UFC, but maybe in all of MMA. The 115-pound division is pretty damn good from top to bottom. The UFC is consistently the most entertaining division.
Yeah, I agree with you there. I can agree with that, especially looking at the champion for the women's strawweight division, all the way to all the competition within the strawweight division. You see that it's very fluid, very, very fluid. You have Rose there, and then the number one, Zhang Weili. We can't forget about her because soon enough, she is going to come back and make some noise, being the number one contender overall. But I agree with you 100%. That most exciting women's division in MMA.
Great fight. Looking forward to that fight as well. Definitely looking forward. These 4 fights we mentioned, all of them I'm looking forward to, and I'm excited for this card. And you said that was the first fight of the main card.
Yeah, that's what I see it as right now. Maybe I have to give me one moment. I'm gonna check another site.
Okay, like I said, this pay-per-view starts at 10 p.m. Eastern Time Zone in the United States. 10 p.m. Eastern Time Zone. 8 p.m. Pacific. I mean, not 8 p.m. Pacific. Excuse me. 8 p.m. Eastern Time Zone. It's the prelims, which should be on ESPN for this pay-per-view.
Yep, that is the first fight of the main card.
Okay, and the prelims are pretty good. I really like the prelims for this card. I mean, Ian Gary, is on the prelims. I guess if you want to transition to that, we can.
Yeah, it's the main card of the preliminary. Ian Gary versus Darian Weeks. It's going to be in the welterweight division. I haven't seen Darian Weeks yet, so I don't know what to expect from him. But I know Ian Gary is a very impressive prospect, so I'm expecting some fireworks there from you. What about from there? What about you?
I'm not too familiar with Darian Weeks either. I'm just pulling up his record. He is 5-1. He's come off. His last fight was a loss to Brian Barberina back in December via unanimous decision. So this is a guy come off a loss, trying to rebound against someone Ian Gary, who's got a lot of buzz about him. I believe he's 8-0 in his MMA career, if I'm not mistaken.
Yep, he is 8-0.
A guy from Ireland, a guy who's got a lot of buzz as potentially the next Conor McGregor. I know it's like hard thing to say considering how popular Conor McGregor is, but a lot of people feel like he'd be the next Irish superstar in the UFC. And Ian Gary talks about how that's his goal, is to be the next Irish superstar. Again, and getting a knockout victory like he did in his UFC debut in Madison Square Garden would definitely help in this case, especially if he's the featured prelim of. Or main event of the prelims, or featured prelim of this card.
Most definitely. Also on the preliminary, we have in the heavyweight division, Yairo Rozenstruik versus Marcin Tybura. That one I think is this one's gonna end very quickly because both of these guys are heavy hitters. Marcin Tybura, he's more of a tactical guy. I think if this ends for him, it's gonna end via ground and pound / some submission. If Yair Rozenstruik wins this fight, for me personally, I see it via knockout for him. He's gonna strike, and that he's gonna have the KO power, and that's how he's gonna win this fight. But the heavyweights, they have a chance here to get some movement within the heavyweight division because there's been a lot of jumping up and down and moving around within the heavyweight division while people are seizing their chance because there is an outside guy who's been rumored getting ready to jump into the division as well. Another fight on the preliminary, though, that I feel it could have been on the main card for me personally in the women's featherweight division. Aspen Ladd versus Raquel Pennington, man. What do you think of this fight?
Wait, that's a featherweight?
Yep.
Okay, makes sense because Aspen Ladd, I think, didn't she have weight troubles recently?
Yep.
Okay. It's this could be. I mean, I guess whoever wins this fight could fight Amanda, not next, but like after she takes care of business, like after she fights Juliana Pena in that rematch. Remember that's. I think Aspen Ladd, if she's having weight troubles at 135, maybe 145 is where she might be better and perform her and put out her best performance. Maybe. I'm not sure. I know Raquel's coming in on a 3-fight win streak, so Raquel's been on a roll. I know Aspen's coming up the loss to who she lose to? Oh, Norma Dumont. That's who it was. So wait, that was a featherweight too, actually. No, I think if Raquel wins, she can get Amanda next. I think if Aspen wins, she won't get Amanda next. So either way, Aspen, like, she's very talented. She's got 6 or 9 victories or by knockouts and TKO. So I don't know if maybe her power translates into the featherweight division, but hopefully she can land some good shots to hurt Raquel Pennington. But Raquel is not exactly an easy girl to like put out either. She's a very tough, gritty girl.
Raquel Pennington is a tough fighter, and I. I'm sorry, I just gotta say it. I think the division needs contenders.
It does. I mean, there's
It
no
needs
division
a
at
ranking.
145.
Yeah, there's no division. I have no ranking system, so I don't know where Rocky Pennington is ranked in the featherweight division because they don't have a ranking system in place because there's not enough fighters in that division. You need more fighters in that division, and yeah, it says a lot that a preliminary bout could decide the next title contender.
Especially in the division where there's no rankings. I mean, it's not. I mean, I don't consider that's not even a real division where it's 145. I'm just gonna be honest. But you know, it's just not. I mean, like I said, Rick, go ahead.
Nah, I was saying, it's the division it is what it is. They have to build it out, but all in all, I think this is gonna be an exciting fight. I think this could have been on the main card as well.
Well, I think the Rosenstruck and Tabor fight could have been on the main card, considering those are two top 10 heavyweights, and I know both guys come off a loss. Rosenstruck's come off the Blaze loss, and Tabor's come off the loss to Volkov. But they're both very exciting fighters, and I think you're right. They're both heavy-handed. I think there's a potential knockout from one of these guys. I mean, Rosenstruck is a pretty good kickboxer. Has a kickboxing record prior to MMA. And Tabor is very well-rounded too. I mean, he's got heavy hands, but he can, take guys down, submit guys as well. So, I think this is and plus Tabor was on a roll prior to that loss to Volkov. He had won 5 in a row. So, I like to see this being a bounce-back victory for Tabor. But I can also see somewhere where Rosenstruck catches him and drops him also. Like I said, this is gonna end first round. I think you're right about that. Dan, I don't think this fight's gonna last too long. I don't think it's gonna be a decision. I'll be shocked personally for this decision.
Yeah, but all in all, 2 very good fights on the preliminary card, back to back. Yeah, Rosenstruck versus Marcin Tabora in the heavyweight division, and Aspen Ladd and Raquel Pennington in the featherweight division. We also have Mickey Gall versus Mike Mallet in the welterweight division. Mickey Gall I'm familiar with. Mike Mallet I'm not too familiar with. What do you see with that fight there?
I'm not familiar with Mike Mallet. I know Mickey Gall's coming off his last fight he lost. I just don't remember who the opponent was. I know he lost his last fight. Yeah, Mickey Gall seems like he's a guy he's been in the UFC a while now. It's crazy considering this is his 12th fight. And yeah, he's been in the UFC since 2016 when he fought CM Punk in Cleveland. So I mean, it seems like it seems like Mickey Gall recently is like he'll start winning some and lose one, like stop, win one, lose one, win, lose one type of deal. I don't know if Mickey Gall can put it together and maybe go out, maybe he can go on a winning streak or not. When it comes to Mike Mallet, I don't know too much about him. Like I haven't seen him fight, so it's gonna be my first time watching him. So who knows? Maybe he's someone to watch out for. Maybe he beats up Mickey Gall easily. Maybe he goes out there and becomes the next contender welterweight. We shall see.
I mean, we're both finding out about him. So, like you said, we shall see. Another fight on the card in the lightweight division: Vince Pichel versus Mark Madsen. Vince Pichel, very impressive prospect, 14-2 in his career, versus Mark Madsen, who's 11-0. I think this fight, to me, this is a pop or stop fight. And when I say pop or stop, I think it's either going to really pop with the fans, or this is one of those fights where it's like, I could have stopped watching it and did something else. It's going to be one of those fights. I don't see it in between being, a very good fight, because both of these, for me, Vince Pichel, what I really remember from him, because just trying to remember him right now, he's a very violent fighter. Vince from hell, Pichel, he's a very violent fighter, throws with accuracy, walks down his opponents a lot. I don't know if I don't remember him grappling too much, but I know he is a striker, a very pronounced striker. So I see that happening. What about you?
Yeah, I think both both guys. I know the names. I'm trying to remember now. I know Mark Masson. Like looking him up, I just remember now that he's a silver medalist at the Olympic Games in 2016 at Greco-Roman wrestling. So he's an Olympic wrestler. So I do wonder how much that's going to play a factor, especially considering he's a silver medalist. If he's going to be taking Pinchot down a lot in this fight. But I mean, I think that that's what I want to see is if Pinchot can stop the wrestling and make it a standing fight, how much we fare in that fight. But Pinchot is 14-2 and Madsen's 11-0, so these are two very good fighters, very good records fighting each other. So I think it should be a good fight. Hopefully, it's not one of those fights that you mentioned where you're basically like, I could have done something else instead of watching this.
All right, so we shall see. Another heavyweight bout that is on the preliminary card. Aleksei Oleinik versus Jared Vanderaa. I'm gonna keep it real. I'm not gonna be all too interested in this fight right here. I don't think this fight has any heavy implications in the heavyweight division, and with so much going on. And neither guy right now I see is gonna pop up to be a contender right now. And not only that, Aleksei Oleinik, he hasn't impressed me in his last couple of bouts. What about you?
Oleinik's lost his last 3 fights to, unfortunately, started with Derek Lewis and then Chris Daukaus, and then it was Sergey Spivak and Spivak, excuse me, Spivak, and Jared Vanderaa has lost 2 in a row to Orlovsky and Alexander Romanov. So you're right. It's not going to affect the heavyweight division that much. It really won't. But someone will get a victory finally, get off their losing skid. And Oleinik it's crazy. Oleinik's been fighting since the late 90s. I think 98, 99 he made his MMA debut. Let me find out. Because Oleinik's been fighting for a while. Like he 90, I think it says 96 was his first MMA fight. Yep, yes, November 1996 in Russia was his first MMA fight. Oh no, Ukraine, excuse me, Ukraine. But still, I mean, the guy's been fighting since the late 90s when he was 19, and he's still fighting. It's pretty crazy. I know the guy's got like a bunch of submission victories. Like he's got like 46 victories by submission. So if this fight gets to the ground, we all know who's probably going to be in great position. Oleinik. Jared's a lot younger than Oleinik. Oleinik's basically 44, and Vanderaa is like 29. So it's heavyweight, and heavyweights tend to age better. I do wonder how much age plays a factor. Although Oleinik does have the experience. But like I said, it's not exactly going to be matter in the rankings, but still, someone's losing skid. Someone's losing skid's going to be Someone's losing skits. It's gonna be ended basically. As for some reason I couldn't pronounce that.
All right, but yeah, that's gonna be a fight on the card as well. Another fight we have in the middleweight division: Anthony Hernandez versus Josh Fremd. Either of these guys, I think both of these guys might be making their UFC debut. No. Anthony Hernandez made his UFC debut already. He lost to Kevin Holland in 2020, and then he beat Rodolfo Vieira. So, all right, I don't remember much of his fights, so this is gonna be a reintroduction for both fighters to me.
Same. I don't know too much about both guys. I mean, I've heard Anthony Hernandez, but for some reason I can't recall his fights either.
Okay. Next fight on the card in the women's flyweight division: Piera Rodriguez versus Kay Hansen. Piera Rodriguez, she's making her debut in the UFC. one moment. Yeah, she's coming off of a victory in the Contender Series, so she's making a debut in the UFC from the Contender Series versus Kay Hansen, who is already in the UFC. Yeah, this is going to be also an introduction as well. Kay Hansen coming off of 2 losses, though, so she's trying to get right versus a contender who's trying to make a footing in the UFC. Yeah, both this fight and the fight prior, I think, are going to be introductions as well.
I agree.
And first fight on the preliminary is Julio Arce versus Daniel Santos, but in the bantamweight division. Julio Arce, I feel like I've seen him fight before. Seen him fight before.
Yes, we did. He fought on Song Yong-dong back in November and got knocked out by Song Yong-dong.
Okay. But yeah, so then Julio Arce against Song Yong-dong, who is a prominent name in the UFC as far as coming up prospect. He has a chance in this preliminary to, set his name right against Daniel Santos, who is 10-1 in his career. And I believe he's making a UFC debut himself. So this is going to be an introduction as well. So a couple of fighter introductions early in the preliminary. We're about to find out this Saturday about who some of these fighters are. But I'm excited. I see this is a very good card, very balanced card so far.
Yep.
UFC had to take a break after coming up with 2 very good cards, and right back into this, man. I'm excited. What about you, Austin?
Very excited. I mean, the UFC taking a week off last Saturday definitely helped. Definitely built anticipation for this card even more, and this is already a pretty good card. I mean, the main card and the prelims are pretty good. I mean, the 2 title fights, the 145 title fight with Volkanovski and Korean Zombie, and then you got the bantamweight title fight with Sterling and Jan, and then of course the Gilbert Khamzat Chimaev fight. I mean, especially all the hype Khamzat has in his television status. I mean, that's pretty damn exciting. And then you got Mackenzie, Dern, and Tecia Torres in the strawweight division, 2 ranked girls in the best division in women's MMA. And of course, Ian Gary, seeing him return is pretty good. And then the Rosenstruck to War fight, I think, should be a pretty good fight, entertaining fight for as long as it lasts. And then Aspen, Raquel, Pennington, the strawweight, those 2 girls who UFC fans are familiar with, fighting in the featherweight division. I mean, yeah, overall, this is a pretty good card. I mean, it's very well balanced. A lot of people making their debut early on in the prelims, and then of course, it has a nice, prelim main event for people to care about, and then of course the other prelim fights like the Aspen Lab Pennington and Rosenstruck and type war fight, very nice fights, especially in their respective divisions. And of course, the main card is solid once again. I'm looking forward to it. I mean, I'm really looking forward to this. I wish I can go, but I can't. It's in Jacksonville. It's only 2 hours where I live in Orlando. I mean, next time. Next
time you most definitely, but all in all,
Orlando area. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah. I was saying, all in all, great card. The anticipation is there, especially having a break, and I can't wait for it. Last words from me, man. I can't wait for it. We're here. It's time. We are live. Everything Bruce Buffer has to say, because we got 2 title fights. We got some questions to be answered. So I'm hyped. I'm ready for it. And yeah, let's go.
My final words are, Jeff Dan's right. Everything he said, and I can't wait. I mean, finally see this bantamweight title situation get fixed and see in this chapter and see how good Khamzat is. And see if Korean Zombie can pull an upset, or we can get the trilogy between Holloway and Volkanovski, as a lot of us do want to see that trilogy fight. I mean, there's a lot to like about this card. Can't wait. Thank you guys for watching and listening to us. Wherever you watch, or whether you're watching us on YouTube or listening to us on audio podcast platforms, we appreciate you guys. Have a good night, and have a great week, and look forward to breaking down this exciting UFC pay-per-view. Peace. I'm Austin, Chef Dan, and good night.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are